Meet up on. You should come.
I know, they look ridiculous.
Yeah.
Man.
No. We all do. It's part of the job. Have you seen Thor's outfit? Flowing robe, Vegas shoulder pads. Pretty ridiculous. I am digging this.
Oh, it's a burkini. My mom bought it for me. Muslim ladies like to wear it for sports and stuff.
It's great.
All right, I'm just gonna change.
Wait. The outfit is all about attitude. You gotta wear it like you mean it. Show me what you got. Come on, you can do better than that. Yeah, now we're talking. All right. You know what? Maybe I can help you with some upgrades for that. Gear's already spinning.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, and if Bruce says anything, just remind him that all he wears are super stretchy shorts.
Bruce, the kid's fine. She's tough. Kinda like her. And she laughs at my jokes.
Yeah, she grows on you. Hey, meet me at the tech lab. I've almost got this door fixed.
You got it, stretchy pants.
Sorry, what was that?
Nothing. On my way. You're still working on this door, huh?
Well, I just need to remove the entire junction box and reconnect them.
Ah! Great job, buddy. See? Wasn't so hard. This place is starting to really come to life again, eh?
You fishing for a compliment?
No, never. Just making an observation.
Fine. Thanks for helping to fix things up, Tony.
See? That wasn't so hard, was it? Home sweet home. All right, if we're gonna get anywhere, we'll need to establish an alternate power source. Chimera was built for Terrigen, but I can convert it to run on something a little less explodey.
I'm scanning the region for sources, but it'll take some time to identify potential initiator core heat signatures.
Well, in the meantime, I need a new suit. Where can I find parts to repair the fabrication unit?
I've located a good salvage spot, and I've sent the coordinates to the war table. When you're ready.
War table, got it. Fix the fabrication unit, get a shiny new suit, and get this bird off the ground.
So, when you're ready, the war table.
Oh, right. Sorry. Be there in a second.
All right, first up. No way I'm gonna be any help fixing up the Chimera without my own upgrade. Jarvis, what do you got for me?
AIM is moving an experimental dropship, which could be appropriated for parts to repair the fabrication machine. Unfortunately, it's extremely well guarded.
But AIM's local defenses are designed around a large-scale air assault. If I fly in alone, using the canyon for cover, I should be able to slip through and jack the dropship.
It's risky, but I don't see an alternative at this point. I'll upload the dropship's last known location to your HUD. The canyon walls prevent me from fully confirming the intel. I suggest you work quickly.
Well, not exactly rocking a state-of-the-art suit, but it should get me there in 1 piece. 2, max.
We need to move fast. Updating your HUD.
Got thunderstruck last night during a 152 to 7. Even without John Morant, 9 message players.
It appears aware of our intrusion.
How about we call this a surprise visit? Intrusion makes it sound like we're the bad guys.
Noted, sir. Acquisition trip it is.
Very highly embarrassed about this. If I don't care about
I'm not sure how long our quarry will remain at its location.
I hear you. We should hurry. How much firepower does Abe have down here? And how much will Bill technically start getting ready after A-Day?
It's impossible to say at this stage. Possibly rather a lot.
Karma is not my friend.
The metaphorical clock is ticking something. Isn't calling it a suit rather generous?
That's funny. Like the AI said, I said. I said.
we've seen teams get beat by 30, get beat by 40. 73!
We need to move fast. Updating your HUD. It appears aware of our intrusion.
How about we call this a surprise visit? Intrusion makes it sound like we're the bad guys.
Noted, sir. Acquisition trip it is. I'm not sure how long our quarry will remain at its location.
How much firepower does Abe have down here?
Rather a lot, it would seem.
And how much will Bill and technically Stark Industries after A-Day?
It's impossible to say at this stage. Possibly rather a lot.
Karma is not my friend.
It's interesting how many of AIM's systems look closely related to your design. Isn't calling it a suit rather generous?
That's funny. The AI assassin.
pad we need.
Gotcha. Look at all this. Which nation-state is AIM planning to go to war with?
Those munitions also appear similar to your design.
Makes you guys sort of want to blow them up. How does that make sense?
Testing for PCB, exact science. That's why they run
Says the elevator.
Again, from the ESPN story about this, this came from the league. The league was very transparent and issued a 5-paragraph statement about how this all went down. Okay, so it says the sample that produced the initial positive test was rerun twice. This is on the 29th of November. Rerun twice and returned one negative and one positive result on 2 different types of tests. As a result, James underwent additional testing on November 30th the next day, with one test returning a negative result and the second test resulting in a clinically inconclusive result. Since then, he's tested 8 times according to this story. All of them negative. That's why so quickly the NBA said, "You sign off. Yeah, you can play. Yeah. You can go. Yeah. Go play the Clippers tonight. Yes. At Staples." Yes. What just happened? Because they have concluded off what I just read you that he did not in fact test positive. Why is it a false positive? From murky at best. It feels like it comes across like the test looks amateurish to me. So when LeBron was told of all this craziness, something is real emojis, fishy, 5 fishy emojis going on. Something is real fishy going on. Well, he should have just tweeted, "I did not test positive." Because that's the bottom line of this. That's what they announced. You did not test positive. He should have said, "I did not test positive," instead of sort of dropping a suspicion of a conspiracy theory against him, because now there's no, unless the league is trying to backtrack and try to spin control it a little bit to look like it wasn't trying to take it out on LeBron for the way he fired back at them for getting suspended.
Skip, I was making a joke, and I should not have made a joke in a situation that LeBron beat COVID in 2 days. I'm glad to hear it was a false positive, because he did have one positive test in those negative tests, because they said he had a sample, it was negative, they retested it, was positive. positive, and it seems like he had 2 positives and 1, because the other story that they wrote, Skip, he had 1 negative and 2 positives, and therefore they went with the 2 positives.
This is making my head hurt.
Exactly. So now he comes back, and he tests, and he retests, and he
Let's get the dropship and get going before AIM brings the big guns. Literally.
I quite agree, sir. It's safe to say Dr. Tarleton would relish the chance to dance on your grave.
Thanks, Jarvis. Now I'm stuck with a mental image of George doing the robot on my headstone.
Apologies, sir.
Popular player, your most valuable game attraction.
If I'm correct, the dropship should be just up ahead.
Well, this place looks homey.
This ringer that you put through. Right. Didn't cost him a
I
game.
find this amount of stored weaponry somewhat disturbing.
Won the game. Right. Weirdly, they had their greatest surge of the season.
Where the hell is my dropship?
Scanning.
They won 66.
The dropship was moved to a more secure location ahead. We can't get there before it takes off.
We can if we overcharge the suit by 300% and take the direct route.
Sir, you might literally explode, and that canyon is treacherous.
Sure, but I feel the need for speed. Do it, Goose, and play something fast.
Systems are red.
You don't say.
Keep going, sir.
Jarvis, this is my shot to make up for A-Day, help the kid, and, if I'm honest, take up the George. Damn right I'll keep going.
Watch out. Their artillery's targeting you. Incoming.
That's the last thing the NBA wants, Skip. In the NFL, the same thing, and I think if the NFL, if you're serious, you said all the money that you lost, okay. Well, you got to, when guys do stuff like what happened with AB and with Rodgers, you got to punish them for that.
Yep.
And I ain't talking about no slaps on the wrist.
No. So the best news here is, for me, LeBron James, not positive.
Right.
Was never contagious.
Right.
Was never a threat to his teammates or his family or his friends. And what did I tell you right out of the box when we first heard the news? I think it was on Wednesday's show. I told you how much it shook me up the night before to hear that even LeBron got COVID.
And so, I know a guy that had he been vaccinated, he might have could have played in the Thursday game.
Oh, I remember that guy.
I know a guy, had he been vaccinated, Skip.
That guy, Amari Cooper, is that who you're talking about?
Him or Rodgers.
Oh, or Aaron Rodgers. That's
who we're going to talk about in a few minutes.
Yeah, by the way, Amari managed 24 total snaps last night because he is still suffering. The effects of COVID.
A lot of people,
a little cough, not contagious, but coughing.
The breathing. Remember Jaylen Brown? Jaylen Brown says he's still. Jason Tatum saying the same thing. I'm trying to get back to where I was pre-COVID.
Cam was never the same last year after he got COVID. Agreed.
So, I'm glad everything worked out.
Everything's okay. Your man's okay. Here we go.
Yeah.
They're gonna have some big trouble tonight,
No,
but that's all nothing.
I don't see that happening.
Oh,
Do you see what the Kings did? Did you got this?
Well.
Well, let's get back to last night's game. Was that the spark Skips Cowboys needed to make a deep playoff run?
Maybe.
That's it.
Maybe nothing.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers will continue to be without former All-Pro wide receiver and
254-720-1228. 720-1228. 720-1228. 720-1228. 720-1228. 720-1228. 720-1228. 720-1228. 720-1228. 254-720-1228. Two five four 720-1228. Here we go.
Your suit won't last forever.
This suit's all I've got left after George burned Golden Acres to the ground. I'm not losing it. Gloves are making weird noises.
Unsurprising. You just lost an acoustics dampening circuit. All systems are red.
You don't say. I think...
Keep going, sir.
Jarvis, this is my shot to make up for A-Day, help the kid, and, if I'm honest, stick it to Georgie boy. You're damn right I'll keep going.
Watch out. Their artillery's targeting you. Incoming. Yes, sir. I've scanned the dropship and it contains the needed parts to repair the Chimera's fabrication machine.
Excellent. Let's check in on the kids and head home. Bruce, Kamala, you read me?
Loud and clear. Bruce is in the harm room pretending to be,
I don't even want to know.
So, any luck out there?
Success. We'll all be in new threads soon. The fabrication machine should be back online in no time.
Great. Can't wait to make Bruce a new pair of yoga pants.
Well, that was fun. Gotta say, it's nice to be back in the saddle.
Yes, sir. You haven't missed a beat.
Ah, glad to see that flattery upgrade kicked in. Now, let's take a peek at our loot. Ah, we hit the jackpot, buddy. This is exactly what I need to fix the fabrication machine.
Glad to hear it. Especially as your current suit is now, how would you put it? Kaput.
Hey, did the job, right? I thought this tech looked familiar. These are all based on my designs.
Some are near exact.
They're sure taking advantage of the Stark tech acquisition. I was kind of hoping they'd just sit on the assets.
PlaySports.com from Mark Cole with Bush 41 pass.
Hey, Mark Cole, the fucking badass Mark Cole, or?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Who's the badass Mark Cole?
There's a fucking fighter named Mark Cole.
Mark Coleman?
I thought there was a fighter named Mark Cole.
I don't know.
You knew there was a fighter named Mark Coleman. Maybe you should just edit that out because I'm slapping.
Well, let's see how slappy you get here. With Bush 41 passing away, people were discussing the photo of him with Paul Bosch and also his managing Ronald McDaniel's Little League team in Odessa, Texas. This brings to mind other wrestling connections with politics. Of course, there's the connection between Mr. Wrestling 2 and Lillian Carter. Did Jim have any run-ins in his career with any politicians that would go on to have any national prominence?
National prominence. Actually, I've stayed away from most politicians over the course of my life. But I've told a story about how Mike Campbell, the son of Carroll Campbell, who was the governor of South Carolina, was a huge wrestling fan. And he used to come to the matches at the Township Auditorium in Columbus all the time, and even invited to one time, oh man, he actually had set up a deal. He invited all the boys to come early and go to the governor's mansion. It's like he just invited them.
All right.
He didn't like
That is more like it. Don't it look amazing, Johnny? Take my picture. Well done, sir.
Players hung out with his dad and everything, blah, 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 but we were working 7 nights a week, and nobody wanted to go down and go to the governor's mansion before they went to, Columbia to the township and blah, blah, blah. And we weren't directly invited anyway. I think it was more of a babyface thing, but I remember there being some consternation when nobody showed up and he was kind of left with the punch bowl all by himself. But, politicians have been involved in wrestling for good and bad, down through the years, and it was actually, a lot of people don't remember this, I brought it up to Billy Corgan in Nashville at the NWA 70th, that if not for Nick Goulas and Roy Welch, but specifically Nick Goulas, because he was the front man and the glad-hander of the bunch, if not for Nick Goulas, there might not have been an NWA for Billy Corgan to buy, because it was because Goulas was in with Senator...
Finally feeling like my old self.
Along with the fabrication machine, I've managed to route power to various other areas, including the inventory vault. I'm detecting some old equipment in your vault, sir. Should I incinerate it?
What? No. That's not trash, Jarvis. It's my stuff. I'll go take a look.
As you wish.
There's also been politicians, what John McCain called UFC human cockfighting. I can't imagine we would have liked wrestling that much either. But,
was Goulas and George Wallace, was there a connection there? If I remember wrong?
No, there was no, well, George Wallace was promoted. George Wallace promoted, George Wallace was governor of Alabama, and Nick and Roy promoted in Birmingham for years and years and years, so I'm sure that they had met and Nick had tried to suck up to him as best he could, but there was actually a famous picture, and this now, within hindsight, when this was sold at the matches or given out at the matches, I got it as a surprise
Not
package.
trash.
Indeed. I'm sure you'll use this to store many more treasures.
But it was a picture
Sir,
of
representatives from our friends at S.H.I.E.L.D. are now aboard the Chimera. Agent Morales is in the command nest. She may be able to help with the parts needed for the ship.
Great. Look forward to meeting her.
And there's Plowboy Frazier on one side of him, and Armand Hussein on the other side. And Armand Hussein is wearing his, African, sash and the fucking hat. I don't know what you call it, that he would wear as part of his gimmick because he was African. So you've got the most racist governor in the state of Alabama history standing next to a militant black man from Africa and a hillbilly from fucking Mississippi. And that came into surprise, and that they must have gone in when he was governor. They probably went in and got a picture taken in the governor's office. But I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall to hear that fucking conversation.
No politicians ever came around when you were running Knoxville?
No, not really. Actually, I didn't get a Jim Cornette Day until, 2015, when they did it in Knox County. The outgoing Mayor Burchett. I asked Glenn Jacobs when I saw him at Supercon, I said, "Do I get another day?" He said, "No, you can only have one." But that was in 2015. I promoted the town in 95. No, local politicians such as the mayor of fucking Prestonsburg, Kentucky may have shown up, but if you're talking, legitimate, known, somewhat heavy hitters, I would not doubt that it happened back in the 70s when Ron was promoting, but by that point, I'll tell you one thing, when not a politician, but it showed the positions that a lot of wrestling fans had in East Tennessee in the 90s. One of the biggest TV station in the Tri-Cities, the program director said, "Oh yeah, I used to sneak under the fence at Chilhowie Park in Knoxville when I was a kid to see Ron Wright all the time." And they were the ones who were the big deals at the banks and the TV stations and etc. at that point, but they'd all moved on by then. Some people, and I want to get to the bottom line, as Stone Cold would say. Some people over the past week have been at it again on my Twitter. I don't know, Cornette, stick to politics. Usually there are those fucking people that have a picture of a gun or a flag, on their thing, and they got like 6 followers, and they might possibly be natives of Montana. I'm not sure, but Cornette, stay out of politics, stick to wrestling. But then overwhelmingly everybody tweets that no, we come for the wrestling, we stay for the politics. Actually, some people have said they came for the politics and stayed for the fucking wrestling, because the cult of Cornette likes to be informed. They like to be involved. They like to be intelligent, which is something that the other side, the Republicans and the conservatives, are not happy with. However, this week, I think we can all finally come together on the fact that the insane clown president is a complete buffoon. And I'm just wondering if anybody now, because as we're taping this, the fallout, it's just been a couple of days ago. But can anybody now say it was a good idea to let this fucking reality show TV, real estate fucking con man, into the most powerful office in the world? Let me see. I know you know the whole chain of events, so if I leave anything out, let me know. But in just a week's time, Donald Trump, whose administration and people connected with it at high levels have been under investigation by the FBI and Congress for ties to Russia. That is, Michael Flynn, National Security Advisor, right, had to resign because of his improper conversation with Russia. Jeff Sessions, the Attorney General, had to recuse himself from being involved in any of these investigations because he had improper contact with the Ruskies. And it's been rumored and innuendoed and implied and hopefully pretty soon outright proved that Donald Trump owes a lot of money to fucking Russia, that he's in bed with that jacks off at night fucking the picture of Vladimir Putin on his wall because he wants to be a goddamn dictator, an authoritarian leader just like that and other people of his ilk that he seems to respect more than our allies, the leaders of the free world. But not only has all that been going on, but in a space of a week, Donald Trump fires the director of the FBI that's in charge of the investigation against his administration and people, and then has the Russian ambassadors and spies, the Russian officials, not only to the White House, but inside the Oval Office, which is not done. He let the spies inside the most important room in the world, and just to make sure that everybody in Russia would know this happened, he didn't let any of the American press in, but he let a camera crew from the Russian media with all kinds of electronic devices into the Oval Office in the White House, the seat of democracy in the free world, and the holder of very sensitive information. And while doing so, revealed some of that very sensitive, classified code word information to the fucking Russians when he was bragging about, like a high school fucking football jock, the shit that he knew about intelligence around the world. He revealed the classified information to the Russians by telling it to them. Did I pretty much summarize his week in foreign relations with Russia?
Well, you missed a few things that I think are important.
Oh, please do continue.
One is this meeting with the Russian ambassador and Russia's foreign minister took place after Vladimir Putin asked for it to take place. He asked Trump on the phone to meet with these guys, and he did. And of course,
in other words, Vlad called a meeting of the minions. Okay.
Vlad called a meeting. The American press wasn't allowed in there. Russian press took pictures of it, and at that meeting, Trump revealed confidential information, classified information, I should say. And secondly, and I don't think this has gotten enough attention, Trump last week issued a letter he sent to Senator Lindsey Graham declaring that he had no significant ties financially to Russia. He called it a certified letter, not realizing that that just means you pay like an extra $1 at the post office, and it becomes a certified letter. Well, this letter that declared he had no significant ties to Russia was from a law firm that received an award in 2016, I swear to God, as the Russia Law Firm of the Year. And this letter, which said that Trump had no financial ties to Russia with, quote, few exceptions, the law firm, on their website, it says that their Moscow office staffs more than 40 lawyers who are well known in the Russian market and have a deep familiarity with Moscow's legislation, practice, and key players. That is the law firm that said he had no ties to Russia. The Russia Law Firm of the Year.
Okay, I understand that some people just want to think that all that Republican horseshit actually works, right? And they wanted to think that Donald Trump's going to bring our jobs back. And the coal miners thought they'd be just swinging away with them picks and them shovels. And everybody thought this, all of a sudden there's going to be a goddamn factory on every corner that's going to employ a bunch of low-skilled labor, which is apparently what they want to bring back. But that all this great stuff is going to happen. And I've said it before, why the fuck would you think, even if that shit was a good idea, and all this other backwards-ass regulation, and all the other globalism, fucking nationalism bullshit that he was spouting, and all the other promises he made out of his ass, and the walls, and the fucking Make America Great Again, even if you thought that was a good idea, why the fuck would you think this fucking mealy-mouthed moron, who obviously in front of your eyes on presidential press conferences either hears or says shit for the very first time ever and suddenly finds it out, whatever, why would you think he was the guy that could do any of that stuff? If you don't want to be called stupid, Trump supporters, don't do stupid shit. We've talked about that, but now here's the thing, just before we go today, here's the, yes, it's funny, and yes, and Melissa McCarthy, goddamn idiot, but I mean, I'm not a good enough promo to make his lies and bullshit sound real and good, but this fucking idiot, and just all the goofballs. The Saturday Night Live could stay in business if he was president for 40 years. You say, well, there probably might not be any country in 40 years if he was president, but the point is, yes, he's a clown, he's a buffoon. Donald Trump's an idiot, and everybody's making fun of him because it is funny. It's sad and it's funny. It's also dangerous, though, but the more dangerous thing that we have to realize is what's going on while everybody's laughing at him. Because while that's going on, just real quick, because this was in the news this week also, while that's going on, while everybody's laughing at Donald Trump, the fucking crackpot Republicans that actually know how politics works and know how to fuck people for real, they're getting all kinds of shit passed. And they just got a bunch of Obama's regulations reversed. Regulations that Barack Obama put in place that the Republicans have just reversed. Barack Obama put in place regulations for enhanced protection for waterways near coal mines. So these coal mining fucks and these rich mining companies and energy companies couldn't continue to piss and shit and put poison and chemicals in everybody's water so everybody's kids grow up deformed and they goddamn end up with gills under their fucking ears in all these small towns across America where they don't have the power to fight back these big corporations. Well, they rolled that back. No more protection for waterways near coal mines. Oh, it's bad for business. And they, Obama passed a regulation requiring contractors to disclose, to tell you if they violated labor laws in the past when they're bidding on contracts. Well, of course, that's a bad thing because we don't want the people to know how badly we pay people and how we violate labor laws, how badly we treat people, etc., so we get more business, where we can fuck some more people. Obama passed a regulation restricting what broadband companies could do with their customers' information, your personal information. Like the AT&Ts and the Verizons, everybody's got a phone now. Everybody has to give information for billing and etc. Well, Obama wanted to restrict the information could be given out. Let's roll that back. The Republicans have reversed the regulation that allowed states, basically they allow states now to deny federal money to Planned Parenthood and other abortion providers, so they're fucking with women's health. The GOP now has repealed an Obama regulation. It was designed to keep guns out of the hands of people with mental disabilities. Obama signed a regulation that would make it extra hard for people with mental disabilities to get a gun. And they repealed that because the NRA fucking was against it, and the hunters. And I think somebody paid off the ACLU because so we concentrate so much on what a buffoon President Fuckduckle is, President Fartstanch, that we forget how fucking evil and backward the Senate and the Congress is now because of this tidal wave of the 40% of people in this country who actually wanted to fuck us all and take us back. Putting the GOP in control of all this. Congress and Senate are getting away with murder without a proper president to stop them and rein them in. So that's still dangerous and that's still bad. We have to keep an eye on it. And 2018 can't come soon enough so we can take back something for the sane people and try to mitigate this damage until they figure out the articles of impeachment. And once again, and Brian, here, one more thing. Civics lesson 101, you fucking dumb shits. If a president is impeached, that doesn't mean he's kicked out of office. Impeachment is the process of being brought up on charges that the Senate would then conduct a trial on to decide whether you stay or go, whether you're guilty or innocent. It's incredibly likely that Donald Trump will be impeached and probably has already committed enough offenses that articles of impeachment would be drawn up if there was a majority in either the House or the Senate, because he's done it already.
Well, can I say something about that? Because I've spent a lot of time thinking about that specific point. Because we all know what happened with Nixon, and we all know about the impeachment of Bill Clinton. Donald Trump is someone who has always said, never settle. Always fight all the way, and it turns out he settles a lot of lawsuits when he knows he's going to lose. There's no way he would go through a trial in the Senate. He would resign first, because that's what he does. That's his nature. The big issue is then going to become Mike Pence can't pardon him the way Gerald Ford pardoned Nixon.
Well, it would be the best thing if he did, because then Pence's head would be on a plate. Everybody want to get rid of it. The only shining light I find in this administration, in this supposed presidential administration, is that by the time that these fucking crooked motherfuckers get finished, by the time that, whether it's just that when people figure out that, the death tax, the estate tax doesn't affect but the billionaire buddies of Trump, or the health care bill affects the billionaire buddies of Trump, people will have, if their economic policies, the tax plan, if that's passed, will bankrupt the United States of America. Because it's ridiculous. All the billionaires have more money, and everybody else will be fucked. This administration, if it goes 4 years, even if they finish it under Pence, people will be so vehemently ill at the thought of a Republican taking office again. And all their shit will be proven that they're a bunch of bumblefucks. Either it doesn't work, or they don't know how to make it work, or they don't know how to implement it, or all of the above. They will. Kansas now is broke as a state, is feeling this conservative ideology of their finances, and the Republican governor with all these ridiculous ass backward bullshit. The whole country needs, If Sarah Palin had been elected, maybe that would have done it. But thankfully, we dodged that bullet. But now, I think Donald Trump is worse than Sarah Palin being vice president, because at least John McCain would have still lived. We were worried about him being old. But he would have lived through it, so Sarah Palin would have been marginalized. But the danger was there. But if that act of treason didn't convince people, never vote again for a Republican. Now, this bunch of misfits and fucking goofballs hopefully will do our country a positive in the long term, in that we will never again believe anything that comes from the Republican Party, and we will see them exposed for the frauds, the charlatans, the assholes that they are. And people are still saying, oh, Donald Trump is going to fix America. What would warp you mentally so badly that you could ignore the shit that you can blatantly see happening right in front of your face and hear right with your own two ears, and still think that Donald Trump should be president of the United States? What could happen to you that would make you so fucked up mentally that you would look at this human being and listen to him talk and hear and see what he does and say, this is a good thing that this motherfucker is president?
I can't give you an answer to that.
All right, well, we can't pay for Meals on Wheels or health care, and we got to cut these taxes on rich folks so that they can continue paying everybody else minimum wage, but we got to increase that defense spending, because we can only fucking blow up the country or the world 10 times over. That needs to be increased to 20. And hopefully these billionaires should not have to pay taxes when they fucking die and leave all the fucking money that they've raped and pillaged and ripped people off of, when they leave it to their fucking chosen little goddamn fucking fuckwad rich kids, like the douchebag von fuckface and Thurston shitbag the third. They shouldn't have to pay any tax on it, because there's some hungry children that could have benefited from that $7 billion fucking dollars. I do want to make mention of another thing. Of course, I had the trip to Florida with Kenny McIntosh, and folks, his name is Sam Driver, but we called him Ben Dover. But it was a mistake. I thought his name was Ben when we were first introduced, and then it became a joke. But Kenny and Sam, I told you I was trying to on the way to Orlando, 900 miles, show them the wonders of the United States and the beauty of the South, and the wide variety of food that was available, and they loved Waffle House and Cracker Barrel and Mark's Feed Store and all the barbecue and blah, 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 and how great, that the United States is, and you can get ice in every hotel, and cold drinks are readily available, and all this stuff. But last week I did not tell the story of when we got to South Georgia. And have you ever driven through South Georgia and North Florida, Brian?
On I-95, stopping at gas stations, but other than that, no.
Okay, but you know that, unfortunately, it's Trump country down there, or the Trumpanzees. If they didn't vote for Trump, they missed a hell of a chance. A lot of the people down there, I like the area, but the billboards are so embarrassing, because once you get past Macon, every billboard you see is, Jesus is the only way, and hell is real, and where will you spend eternity? And those guys are kind of looking sideways at that, and I'm explaining, well, this is small town America, and they're still wrapped up in this religious hocus pocus. And also, especially if there's an adult bookstore or a dildo shop or something, they got to put those billboards up, because somehow they think that cancels it out. People are having fun, having sex, so we got to remind you about hell. So you won't have any fun having sex, but they're looking at that. And the one thing about the UK, now they may not have ICE, but they sure don't have religion foisted in your face. Yes, they have churches and religions for people who enjoy that type of thing. It's the type of thing those people like over there, but it's not in politics. It's not in daily life. It's not, you don't get slapped in the face with it when you go to a certain low income or low education level area of the United Kingdom. It's not all religious billboards. And so that kind of reflected badly on the United States. Then we get to the abortion billboards, where it's so anti-abortion and just saying abortion is murder and killing and blah, 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 which is more religious tomfoolery from the same folks. And they're looking at that kind of like, wow, that's fucking awful, and the pictures of fetuses and everything. Like, people in the situation of needing an abortion or having to have an abortion are not already upset enough about it, but they got to look at that shit. Just because people believe you're pissing off an invisible supreme being if you do what you need to do for your own private personal health or your own private personal fucking life situation. But then they started seeing the gun billboards. And I remember specifically Kenny and Sam, Ben's jaws both hit the fucking ground when the one billboard said, like fucking gun outfitters, thousands of guns in stock. And Kenny turned to me and said, like, that's a good thing they want to brag about? I can't do his accent. And I had to explain to him once again, well, yes, because in the United States, depending on what age we are, we all grew up on either cowboy movies or war movies or fucking gangster movies or now, you know, Bruce Willis movies and Terminator movies, where it's cool that everybody gets shot and, you know, it ends up good wins because they shoot all the bad guys. And the rednecks and the Trump voters and the hillbillies and the gun nuts and the hunters and all this shit think that somehow this is real life and that they would all be able to stop these terrorist attacks, or they would all be able to protect their family if they were being invaded or broken in on because they'd have guns and they'd look like John Wayne and Bruce Willis and everything, when in actuality the perpetrator of whatever would take those fucking self-same guns and shove them up their asses right before they shot them. And it's hard to explain to people you're trying to sell on the wonders and the majesty of a fucking country when they, okay, we can get ice in a hotel, and we can get a wonderful meal at Cracker Barrel, and meanwhile there's a fucking idiot legally allowed over here in a store to sell thousands of guns, not just pistols, not just handguns, but fucking machine guns. There was a billboard for machine guns. Get your automatic assault rifles here, folks. And they're looking at me like, this is legal, this is tolerated, this is, people think this is a good idea. They can't imagine it because they come from an actual country that is sane and reasonable and rational, that everybody shouldn't have goddamn, you know, fucking bazookas. So it was embarrassing, and already they're looking at us sideways because we've elected Donald Trump and put the entire world in danger. And they already think we're fucking nuts. They don't understand that only like 30% of the actual people in the country were nuts and wanted Trump. It's just that the Electoral College and the fact that about 40% of people didn't vote because they didn't think that it was a real thing. And they woke up and said, oh my God, what if we all fucking let happen? But it's embarrassing when you get people from countries with a somewhat rational approach to the fact that, oh, school children are getting slaughtered on a regular basis. Maybe we ought to do something about it. They don't understand the NRA pays hundreds of $1 million a year to the fucking, especially the Republicans, but even some of the Democrats, to keep guns in everybody's hands and have no restriction on them whatsoever, because that way they can make more money. And it doesn't matter that the kindergarten children get slaughtered in the fucking school where they're supposed to be learning, because did I mention they pay a lot of money so that the fucking gun nuts can make up for their small penises with their big guns? And they come up with all, and on Twitter it's been insane the past couple of days. People are coming up with reasons to rationalize this bullshit. To fucking, well, I want to be able to defend my family when somebody breaks in with a gun by shooting them with my gun. You fucking morons. Goddamn, you don't, and only if we make guns illegal, then only criminals will have them because they don't follow the law. No, you dumb shits. If there weren't any guns, the criminals wouldn't have them either. Because they wouldn't be able to get them, because there wouldn't be any. Every country that's had a mass shooting and done a mandatory government buyback program, Australia, or everybody that has sensible gun control legislation, the United Kingdom or whatever, their shootings are minuscule compared to the United States. And we can't know if we do something like tomorrow, then that ain't going to help us, but it's going to help in 100 years. some of these things, well, it'll take care of itself because if you quit making all these fucking guns and letting all these people buy all these fucking guns, guns are the only thing that the United States can still manufacture that lasts longer than fucking 5 years. Computers, DVD players, appliances, they all crap out. Guns last for 100 fucking years, but in 100 years, the grandkids wouldn't have to worry about all this shit because we would have weeded it out over the period of time. Stop now for the sake of people 100 years from now. Because 100 years from now, on a variety of issues, including the EPA and the environment that Trump fucking asshole and his goddamn Scott Pruitt fucking prick is poisoning, they're all going to be going 100 years ago, our fucking forefathers were the biggest bunch of stupid, dumb motherfuckers in the history of goddamn stupid, dumb motherfuckers. And they have fucked us. Because they had a chance to do something then, and they didn't. So I'm just, once again, astonished at the hunting excuse. Well, the hunter should, if you can fucking take a goddamn gun and point it at a deer or a rabbit or a bird, or especially these, like, douchebag von fuckface and Thurston shitbag the third, the Trump kids, and you're a rich fuck like that Jimmy John sandwich fuck. Don't eat Jimmy John sandwiches because the fucking asshole that owns it goes to Africa and kills fucking rhinos and elephants and zebras and endangered species because he has a tiny little fucking dick and he wants to prove what kind of a big man he is. That if you can take a gun and shoot an animal that is not attacking you, there is something mentally wrong with you. You have a fucking defect in your personality. Especially an alligator, okay. Maybe we can go there. Yeah, shoot a fucking alligator, because they're up to no good most of the time regardless. But a deer? How's a deer gonna hurt you? How are you offended by the existence of that deer? How are you somehow gratified that you just murdered that poor fucking deer who was minding his own business eating leaves in the woods? And I know people that I like and respect that have this fucking issue. Dennis Connery one time, I called Dennis Connery, he said, oh, I'm out hunting, I just shot this deer. I said, just call me back then later, maybe tomorrow. Don't tell me about it. I don't want to know, Dennis, because I'll think less of you. I can't fucking hear about shit like that, because it makes me fucking sick to my stomach. But if they wanted to, and hunting is not a sport, for one thing. If they wanted to make hunting a sport, they would strip the hunters naked and give the deer guns. Then it's a fucking sport. When everybody's on an equal playing field, it's a fucking sport. Elsewise, it's slaughter. And everybody's saying Cornette loves cheeseburgers, and he loves fucking cheeseburgers. Well, if it was up to me and I had to be the one to fucking do it, and the fucking cow wouldn't hop on a bun when I asked it to, I'd be eating broccoli right now. Because I'm still, there's jobs that have to be done, I understand that. My septic tank, I can't understand the guy that cleans out my septic tank. He decided to get in that line of work. Thank goodness for him, because my septic tank doesn't need cleaning out. But if I had to be the one to do it, that fucking thing would stink. And it's the same goddamn thing with these gun nuts and this hunting bullshit. And I'm sick and tired of hearing a justification of just because some people like to fucking slaughter fucking animals and consider that a sport, we should make every kind of automatic assault weapon, every kind of goddamn hand grenade, every fucking giant fucking bazooka available to kill and slaughter innocent human beings because some assholes want to shoot some fucking animals that weren't fucking with them. It's goddamn ridiculous. And and here's another thing. I don't fault some of these people as much as I normally would because it's passed down from generation to generation. Just like I've said before, religion is passed down from parents to children, which I think is a form of child abuse. There's nothing wrong with teaching your kids that you should be charitable to people that have less than you, and you should be kind to people and treat them the way you want to be treated, and etc. But when you start bringing in a fictitious, ridiculous story about a supreme being that lives in the sky and governs you and hellfire and damnation and this and that, and God's going to be mad if you have an abortion, all this stuff, you're abusing that kid's mind because you're filling it full of horseshit. And a parent or an authority figure is the goddamn the most important person in shaping a young child's life. So when I hear these people say, well, I want to teach my kid to be an outdoorsman, he's out there firing guns and hunting and everything, well, what you're doing is you're committing child abuse, prick, and you should be ashamed of yourself. If the kid wants to do shit like that after he turns 18, then that's fine. I guess there's nothing we can do about it. But to teach your children that it's okay to go out and kill animals, well, it's a small step from shooting something with fur and feathers to something with skin, and you're just making that step a little easier. And it's the same thing with when you bring your children up. Religion, being a good person is not necessitated or predicated on believing in an invisible, fictitious supreme being. You can teach your children to be good human beings without taking them to church, because it actually works in opposite. When they obviously attain the age of reason and do a little research and realize that the backstory of every major religion and minor religion on earth is complete and utter horseshit, then they go, well, my parents were lying to me. So if they lied to me about the existence of this fucking ridiculous God we're talking about, then they must have lied to me and when they said that I should be charitable and kind to other people and treat them the way I want to be treated. You're blowing your own fucking case. And it pisses me off, and I just wanted to get that off my chest this week.
You should have taken them through the Carolinas. They could see billboards, fireworks, and South Florida.
Well, and yeah, as a matter of fact, there was plenty of fireworks too. And fireworks, hey, I got no problem with fireworks. I've never set off a goddamn firework in my, because that's why I have 10 fingers and 10 toes, and I like my life. But if you want to set off fireworks and blow your fucking hand off, more power to you. They don't see what all the guys, unless it's a professional exhibition done by a fucking pyrotechnic expert for a big celebration of the 4th of July or whatever. It was just some, Billy Bob out in the fucking woods with some goddamn bottle rockets. Hey, it was funny when Billy Bob lost his nose. But fireworks are not harming anybody but the person that's doing it. When we're talking about this entire fixation on this gun culture in America because everybody thinks they're fucking John Wayne or Marshall Dillon, you're not just hurting yourself, you're hurting other people. And that comes down to bullshit. That's when we ought to be talking about our rights. I have the right not to get fucking shot by an AK-47 that some middle fuck shouldn't have. Ugh. Fuck. Why is this hard to figure out? Here's how this came up. The thing that I wanted to talk about today, because Mark James, of course, my cohort and co-author down in Memphis, and he had Mark James books and Memphis wrestling history, and look him up on Twitter. But he's sold a couple of collectibles lately. He's like we all are. He sells some stuff in order to buy more stuff, and I do the same thing. And in this case, I got a few of the old Memphis wrestling, Jerry Jarrett's wrestling company, paychecks from Mark that he had in his collection. And it's fascinating. Of course, I've sold the Smoky Mountain checks on my website for years, and they're almost gone. As a matter of fact, I think I might have about 3 or 4 dirty white boys, a couple Killer Kyles left, and that's pretty much it. But from the days where Jerry Jarrett would do house cleanings every once in a while, that's how that old reel of a 2-inch videotape with the scaffold match with him and Don Green, which, by the way, is on the Louisville Tuesday Night at the Gardens book DVD combo that's on that DVD. But the original 2-inch reel of videotape turned up on eBay because Jerry Jarrett would just give people shit. Here, haul this shit off. And then later on, they're selling the paychecks. So at any rate, when I started looking at those and I started thinking about what I knew and could verify about what I had made in wrestling, or what I knew that from documents that I had or had collected, or other checks that I had seen, or there was something to verify. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, because a lot of guys that actually made big money in wrestling will a lot of times say, oh, we got fucked. We never made the money we should have. Well, they might not have made the money they should have, but they still made a lot of money, but they will downplay it. And other times, guys that probably didn't make a lot of money will go, oh, I made a fucking fortune. I mean, goddamn, there's no way to judge. It's like the size of giants in the circus, or the size of, Russo's penis. There's no way to tell because no one's ever really seen the exact true measurements. But I'm sorry, I tickled myself with that one. In some cases, we do know and factual. So it's interesting to see how that wrestling and the guys making money and even some of the towns, the way that they drew or whatever, has changed. And of course, when I got turned on to the inflation calculator, we were just talking about this before the show. The USinflationcalculator.com thing, where you can put the money in 1952 or whatever, and it tells you what that buying power equals in the year 2017. Did I explain that fairly well to the people?
Yeah, I think that's pretty simple. It's an inflation calculator.
Well, there you go. For those people who know what that kind of thing is, they don't need any explanation. Anyway, I know everybody always says, goddamn Cornette's stuck in the past, and then I always come up with a reason why the past was so much better, but it looks like we're going to do this again. Today in professional wrestling in this country, and for the purpose of this exercise, I'm not taking Japanese wrestling into the equation. We know guys made big money in the 70s and 80s in Japan. Road Warriors, Hanson, Brody, guys like that 10, 12 grand a week or more as time went on. But this is just the United States, okay? And this is just what's verifiable, as I said, and we'll talk about how I can verify it as we go through it. Inflation calculator and see what it compares like today when we know that the WWE guys make very good money. Although actually the underneath guys, we've often heard by the time they pay their road expenses, etc., and they live their life on the road these days, not like the territories where at least you went home, you worked every day, but you went home a lot. So, but the top guys make money, but is there any other, what's the biggest money that anybody outside of WWE in this country is making now? There's a couple guys in TNA that are still big ticket items, right? Or reasonably for that scale. There's Ring of Honor has signed a few exclusive contracts. I do not know what they are, but I would think if they brush into six figures, they're not spending much time there. Don't pull up no chairs. We can't stay in that neighborhood. Is there any, and we hear about the guys on the independents making big money in six figures these days, which would be low, I would think, low six figures outside WWE. Am I missing anything, Brian?
Well, no, I think it's a combination of things. Like you bring up Ring of Honor contracts. The Young Bucks have a Ring of Honor contract, but they also have the Japan deal. They do incredible on their merchandise, and they have permission to work a Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, and I guess they may be able to ask for permission to work other dates outside of Ring of Honor. But so it's kind of a deal with one company, but it ends up being a bigger deal because they control their merchandise and they have the Japanese relationship.
And that's all very good, as a matter of fact. And I'd rather, as Don Knott said in Ghost of Mr. Chicken, I'd rather eat good food than bad food any day. I'd rather have control over my shit than not any day. So yes, there are some guys, but I think we will also say that it's not epidemic across independent wrestling that the majority of independent wrestlers or even anything but a vast minority are making six figures these days in the United States.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay. Well, let's go to what we know to be true. From documents that printed at the time, newspaper reports, from Jim Barnett, anecdotally, who was involved in Fred Kohler's Chicago office, which is where most of this information would be known, from papers in the Jack Pfeffer collection at Notre Dame that have been looked at, etc., we can pretty much say with certainty that the five highest paid professional athletes in the United States of America in the early 1950s, and football was around, basketball around, baseball was around, but the five highest paid professional athletes in the United States in the early 1950s were the world heavyweight boxing champion and four professional wrestlers. And depending who was hot on the network TV out of Chicago at the time, one of them was Vern Gagne, because he was the United States champion on Chicago network TV, booked by Fred Kohler under the same deal, I think, as the NWA champion, which is what led to the problems with the NWA in Chicago and Fred Kohler. So he was getting a percentage of the gains, and he was easily topping $100,000 a year. Lou Thez, the NWA champion, everybody knows, got 10% of the house. He was topping $100,000 a year. Hans Schmidt, when he was probably the hottest heel of that era off the Chicago TV. One would think Gorgeous George, because same thing, wrestling from Hollywood, from Los Angeles, TV, he was getting a percentage for a while there, and we know Buddy Rogers made a shit ton full of money. But you know what $100,000 a year in like 1952, I believe is the year I put in, is equivalent to now? $924,000. These guys were literally, at that point in time, and of course it didn't, it didn't last for 20 years like that, but during the say late 40s through mid 50s, with network TV and wrestling being hot in a variety of places, the guys that were making over $100 grand a year, and there were probably during that period, you can make a case for a dozen of them, including the ones I just mentioned, at one point or another made $100 grand in 1 year, almost $1 million. Baron Leone versus Lou Thez in 1952 in Los Angeles, which was the first, as we know, $100,000 gate in wrestling. They did 103 grand at Gilmore Field. That 103 grand a day would translate to $952,000 for a house show in Los Angeles. This is not TV rights, no pay-per-view. That's what they drew selling tickets. And if Thez got 10%, and I remember something, and I didn't even check, but something in his book that he may have taken a lesser percentage because it was going to be such a big show, but normally he got 10%, which means that he would have made 10 grand, which would equal $92,435 for one match that night today. No pay-per-view, just a gate. But let's say he took half, which I know he got more than that. He took half what he fucking normally got. That would have been $46,000 for that match.
I don't know if you know this off the top of your head, and I don't remember it, but what percentage did Ed Strangler Lewis get as Thesz's manager?
As a matter of fact, I believe, because at some points the 10% was 7 to Thez and 3 to the NWA. At some points it was 10 to Thez and 3 to the NWA, and they griped about that. The promoters did, because there was 13%. I think, didn't he give Lewis 1 or 2%, maybe one of his percentages and one out of the NWAs or whatever the fuck. But when Thez showed up at some points in that time and had the most legendary pro wrestler at that point still living of all time in his corner, they were, and the NWA booked them there, they were getting pretty much 15% of whatever you drew just to be there. And I think, and it has worked everywhere. So, that's, and I mean, nobody, if we did nobody can tell for sure about these payoffs like Strangler Lewis and the guys in the 30s, and when there was betting money involved, and even Frank Gotch or whatever, they got enormous amounts of money for the time for one match, but then they might not wrestle again for a month because they had to go in and do a training camp and travel on a train to another location or whatever. So it was a different animal. But those guys, Strangler Lewis probably made more money adjusted for whatever inflation of today than anybody ever in the business. I would think Jim Londos.
Yeah, that would be my pick.
But Lewis had the ability to, he was also in with the fucking Office, and he had the ability to strong-arm a percentage for himself, and Londos was a lucky Greek performer, so there's the case to be made that Lewis may have made more money than Londos.
Although we don't have any idea how much Londos was paid for those big shows he worked overseas. When he went back to Greece and worked there, and for those stadiums.
Oh, yeah, well, but just even, 30-something thousand people in Boston during the Depression, he was... If he got paid what he was worth by the promoters, he would have been up there. Anyway, continuing on. So we've established in the early 1950s, right, that's what and now this, once again, football and baseball and basketball were still around, but that's why guys like Wahoo and Ernie Ladd and so many other guys actually left football while they were still active to go to wrestling because they could make more money. The professional sports had not exploded, like they have now, and the payoffs are completely out of whack. Let me tell you, when I got into business, that's the Memphis territory that I know a lot about, and the checks that kind of instigated this. I got a check from Joe LeDuc, or to Joe LeDuc, from Jared Jarrett, for the week ending June 1st, 1978. He made $898.75. The reason it wasn't $900 is because there was an occupational tax thing in Louisville at the time, and it was $1.25. So, and they would take that out, right? Whatever the fuck. And that's in a period, that was just coming off of the end of May, Memorial Day, when business was actually down. Memphis that week drew 4,600 people, which was, you know, obviously well below its historic average over time, and certainly wasn't 11,000 people sold out. The summer of '78 was not a strong business period for Memphis wrestling, even though LeDuc and Lawler got over, and people remember to this day. It just didn't click that summer. That was a long summer. So the top heel in the Memphis territory on a bad week made $900, which is today equivalent to $3,381. Now, I don't know whether he worked 6 days or 7 that week, because it's not itemized. But this is in a down business period where Memphis did half of what it would do when any program was hot, and he made $3,381 in today's money for a week's work in the territory. Memphis alone probably would have accounted for 300 of that. So you can see that if Memphis had sold out, or if the territory was even hot, like it was at some other points, that could have easily been twice as much money, which would have been $6,600 fucking dollars. And you were home in your own bed in that territory 5 nights a week, and you drove every day, and it was hard. But here's another, for the week ending July 26, 1979, Jackie Fargo made $400, and that's deceptive week ending because he came in for Memphis. That was the WFIA convention, Jackie and Roughhouse Fargo against Wayne Ferris, Larry Latham, and Danny Davis. He came in for Memphis. He was flown in, put up in a hotel, got to hang out with all of his boys, go out and tear the house down in what was actually the best match of the night, and that included the Freebirds Memphis Arena debut and Hulk in a main event. And he got paid $400, which is today equivalent to $1,500. So that, you know, and then he went back to Charlotte to his place of business. Jerry Lawler, the week ending June 14th, 1979, this was the last week that Robert Fuller was the booker. When he was fired that week, and the next week they did the Tupelo concession stand brawl, right? Robert Fuller was fired because business was horrible and Memphis was at a low point of modern historical times with a $12,000 house. And Jerry Lawler made $2,508 that week because Lawler was such a draw. In Memphis, he was integral when Jarrett split from Goulas. He took Lawler, and Lawler was the key to getting Channel 5 television. And Lawler was the key to, you know, he was the guy that could draw 400,000, you know, paid admissions a year in Memphis, Tennessee. He'd done it before. So he got 10% of the house, which alone, over a period, I mean, there was ups and downs in Memphis, but annually, that was probably worth $100,000 plus an average year. Well, Lawler's $2,508 that week.
Cooper. Cooper. You wanna go outside?
Oh. Fury used to yell at us from up here. Kinda miss that guy. Hey there. I was told Shield was in the house.
I'm Agent Alessandra Morales. I'll be your point of contact for SHIELD day-to-day. If you ever have any spare cycles, come see me. There's plenty that needs doing.
Very nice to meet you, Morales. I need to find some parts to get this old girl in the air. Maybe I can kill two birds with one stone? Help out my old SHIELD pals while I'm at it?
So, you think you can do us a favor on this one?
I got him. Cooper. Cooper. Come on, Cooper. Wanna go outside? Sorry if we woke you up. Al, I think this is your shirt. Long. Oh, no, I mean, yeah. Right. I was talking to a friend of mine about guns. Yeah. You know, I said we need common sense. We need common sense gun reform. Of course, when you say anything about guns, they automatically go to you're trying to ban guns. So he goes, well, vehicles with too, so I guess we should ban those too. Okay, first of all, you can't compare these things because guns aren't vital for our day-to-day lives. Vehicles are. I said, second, you know, I think it would be a good idea for a gun to have as many laws as vehicles do. Because, yeah, just like they compare, let's make people have to study and take the test to get a license. Let's make them have to register the vehicle. Make them have to get insurance on the vehicle. Let's make sure that they're registered to inspect for safety. Let's make sure when they sell their weapons, the buyer that buys it has to have a bill of sale, get titles on them, and make sure they register their serial numbers like cars, like anything pickup. So that on each serial number you can put the reference to belongs to what weapon. That'd be great. Let's do all that. Since you like that comparison so much, wouldn't that be awesome? I just wrote get rid of it, just come up with anything, you know, to distract from the conversation. That's what I told him. I said, you're just trying to distract from the conversation. Oh, no, no. I used it first. Mom told me to get out of there. Ugh. Damn. right, Malika. 10 days in isolation for a player with a positive test, or, of course, two consecutive negative PCR tests in a 24-hour period. So potentially, you could be looking at LeBron perhaps having the opportunity to play again by December 12th against Orlando at home. If you start playing this out over that 10-day period, a player's got to undergo cardio screening, and often there's a ramp back up physically. The player's inactive during that time in isolation. So leaders are prepared to do a number of changes now. So for a period of time, essentially happened. There's nothing.
Go to the store? Yeah, we're going to car, we'll go over there.
Yeah, just pop, no yellow again. If they got a pack, 2 liter, whatever. Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. You seen Cooper down? Glow down there. Oh, really? Down there.
He's at the door a while ago. He's at the door a while ago. I heard him crying. Then when I went to open the door, he was gone. Yeah.
He does that sometimes, because I went to the door before. Honey! You going with me? You want this far, Frank?
Yeah. I'm gonna go shut my door. I think I'm gonna take a nap before I have to talk to Jim.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right. See y'all. Wasn't that big, but it's got fucking drunk in it for days, doesn't it?
got to be able to, that's right. You got to be able to do some other stuff. You got to be able to fill out a 1099. Help me out with my taxes.
You're helping us win the fight against him. Thank you.
Take care of your business, man. Don't
Sir,
do your own business.
a new SHIELD representative has joined.
Help me out with my taxes.